Alright, so Raid is a game that's probably been advertised to the point where it's a borderline meme at this point. But it's a game that I actually genuinely like and I've played a ton of. In addition to being on PC, I'm currently streaming using the PC client. It's also available on mobile. The core of this game is a team building / RPG style game. The best way I can describe it, and the reason why I've really hooked onto it and enjoyed it in terms of gameplay, is it is a team building. It's a mix. To me, it feels like of the Pokemon video games where you like collect and build a team, combined with kind of a Diablo 2-esque feel where you customize and build the characters. So for example, what I mean by that is, let's take a look at, this guy's not built at the moment. We're gonna build him later, I think. Let's take a look at my Arbiter here. So each of your characters, in addition to having visuals that go with them, the building as far as they go, there's nine item slots on each of your characters that you have to go through. And the part of the game that keeps me really engaged and keeps me interested in it is the building the characters feels very similar to tuning or tweaking deck lists. So your characters have lots of different stats here, and then the items that you farm from dungeons, similar to how you would farm items in a traditional RPG style game like Diablo, you mix and match on your characters to try and find the optimal configuration of stats for your different characters. Let's take a look at some actual gameplay, and then I can talk about how characters go. Now, the game is free to play, but there are pop-ups when you log in offering to allow you to spend as many dollars as you'd like to spend. I've played Raid a good deal, and I actually spent money on Raid before they reached out to me to do sponsored segments, so I probably spend like $100 a month or so on different things when I'm playing it a ton. And obviously you could spend as much or as little as you'd like. So let's pop into the campaign here. My account is pretty well developed, so I've logged a lot of hours, but I'm not quite through. There's 4 difficulties in the campaign, and I'm not quite through the nightmare difficulty yet. So the campaign levels, when you're playing through them, you can use up to 4 characters for most of the campaign levels, but you gain additional star rewards if you complete them with 2 or fewer champions. So I think I want to try and run this with just 2 champions here. There's one other thing that kind of reminds me of Pokemon when playing the game is there's 4 different types of champions here. So blue champions are strong against green, green are strong against red, red are strong against blue, and then there's also a 4th purple type that does not have any weaknesses or strengths. So what would be 2 good champions to try and put in here for these 3 red guys? I haven't poked at the campaign for a little bit. Let's try... What does the swirl mean between your champions level, and type? Oh, this little icon means that they're currently used in a fusion. So there's one of the things that's kind of neat that the game does from time to time is, in addition to opening shards from like these random mystery packs and having that's the vending machine gotcha part of the game, they also do these fusion things where you can save up your heroes that are easier to get and fuse them into more powerful ones. So this epic champion that I actually used in a good deal of content was actually one that I fused from here because I wasn't lucky enough to open it. And so this is a limited time fusion, but there's also other ones in here that are reasonable champions that are always available. I feel like Raid actually does a pretty good job of making it easy to get meaningful champs that do useful things. So let's try this. Let's see if we can run this down with just a team that nukes to start. Who do I have that would be good at that? Let's put Trunda in here and Staggy Boy and see if we die or not. So there's the basis of combat in this game. Each character has a health bar and then a turn meter bar underneath. And you can see here, there's some blue opponents in this first wave, and my green guy is weak to the blue champions. So I have my different abilities here in the corner. His second attack hits all of them and has a chance to apply debuffs to them to weaken their attack and their defense. There's no permadeath. Your champions will frequently die, and then Trunda just does truckloads of damage with this attack, so we'll just drop that. You can see she killed that one, and then gave pretty heavy hits on these. Trunda is not good against this red guy, though. You can see here the swirl on the status icon. She stunned the 3 idiots that survived her hit, which is great. So they're not going to get a turn next turn. And you can kind of tell the order you want to prioritize hitting things based on their turn meter. So like, for example, my Trunda's meter is at half here, so she's going to get another turn before any of these get turns. I'm going to have my stag try and kill this guy here. Came up a little bit short. We'll have Trunda whop this guy before it gets an attack. And then this guy's stunned, so I don't really have to worry about that. And you can see my champions are significantly faster than theirs, so we're getting to go twice to their once, which is nice. This ability has a cooldown mechanic, so it's refreshed back up here, so we'll get to go ahead and hit these. We've got reduced attack and defense on each of those. You can see Trunda's big bombs here at the end aren't refreshed yet, so we gotta wait on that. Her second attack is an AoE attack as well, though, so we'll lead there. And Trunda hits like a truck. She's on my PvP team. It's been a hot second since I've tried to go through the campaign. We could probably farm through a little bit of it. Is this a single player game? Yes, it's a combination of both. So what I'm currently playing in a combat here is a single player campaign mission, but there is also a PvP aspect to the game that we're gonna take a peek at in a second. So to get max stars on a campaign level, I need to not only win the level, but I need to have both of my champions survive, which we actually might be able to do here, it looks like. Trunda's other cool skill is up. And you see, now here, this guy, not only can we probably finish them off, but his turn meter bar is almost full, so he's going to get an attack here soon, so I want to take him out. And then Trunda gets to go before this, and if we're fortunate, Trunda will stun this guy with her hammer. And you can see it popped up there twice. It said she delivered weak hits. The weak hits are because she's blue and this champion's red. So if you are off affinity, you have a chance to deal weak hits. Look at that. Look at that. This item kind of sucks, so we're gonna sell it. There is the first time. Unfortunately, you can't replay. There's like video cutscenes and stuff as you play through the campaign for the first time. Unfortunately, you don't have access to those the second time. Let's see how far we can run down before we can't get three stars. Is there co-op? There is kind of a co-op mode, and I'll talk about that. So, if you download I would appreciate everybody that has a PC. Download it using my link and play through the tutorial to support my content very easily at no cost to yourselves. If you liked the game after playing the tutorial and seeing me play it, we've got a whole group of us in the Discord server that talk about it quite frequently. So again, talking about the strategy of the combat here, this champion's stunned, this is stunned, this is stunned. So I'm going to attack this one in the middle to try and kill her before she gets a turn. My Stag Knight also has an ability where he reduces their meter when he hits them for the first time. So we'll smack her, and then she did not get a turn yet because my Trunda was faster. Trunda is a thick dwarf. She's real good. So again, my Trunda's pretty speedy compared to these campaign characters, so we'll get to zap that to get over here and smack this before it gets a turn. So the waves in the campaign levels get progressively harder as you run into them with stronger champions. So even though my big bombs here are ready, I'm going to go ahead and use her A2 here because I want to save the bombs for the third wave of guys, ideally. They barely got touched there. That's rough. We might have to drop the big bombs. Ooh, he locked my cooldown skills. That's unfortunate. All right, let's attack this and try and stun him. Did not stun. And then again, I want to try and hit one of these dudes or dudettes that are getting close to getting a turn. We'll go ahead and hit them with this again. My Stag Knight might die. And again, to get the max stars and the level that I'm looking to get, I need my whole team to survive. So I could drop bombs here and finish them. I think I'm supposed to do that. I think there's a good chance Stag Knight dies otherwise. Your champions heal a small bit in between waves, but not a ton. So getting to lead. Why are your things level 60, but theirs are over 200? So your personal champions max out at level 60, 6 stars in level 60. The campaign characters have their levels scale up because they don't have gear. So the way the campaign gets more challenging is by making their guys have better gear. It's good solid hit, Trunda. I appreciate you. So Stag can probably kill her. However, if Stag hits this one, Trunda might get to go before she takes a turn, because Stag can reduce her turn meter. That did not work out. So, one of the things I liked when I started playing Raid is it does a good job of kind of holding your hand and directing you through different ways to go. So the reason why I would like to get through all this final single player content is down here. You can see I've actually hit enough stars to collect this. So I'm going to get, it's like 2 million silver here in Nightmare. And as you collect stars in these different areas, you collect other in-game rewards to progress your account and get more things like champions that come out of shards and stuff like that. So let's keep running through here and see how far we get before we take a peek at something else. Dropping bombs on the first wave, I think, makes a lot of sense because usually her bombs will be refreshed by the time we get to the last one. And again, kind of looking here, this guy's still stunned. I think I'm gonna have her hit this one in the middle. Maybe I should have her use her second AoE here as well, potentially. And then this guy's stunned, so I don't need to worry about him. I'm gonna send her hammer hits here, because he might be able to kill this. Not quite. Now he's stunned though, so that's great. Trunda's really good. She's what we refer to as a nuker and crowd control champion. Her stuns make it easier to get through waves without your champions dying, which is great. And then this ability only has a 3-turn cooldown. But I assume if I download, yes, yep, yeah. If you're at work right now or just busy, you can use my link at any time to support my content. You just have to play through the end of the tutorial with it. Again, this is a 5-turn cooldown, so I think I want to try and get through this second wave without using this. So I'm going to use this one here because ideally I'd like to have that for the last one. We'll see how hard these hit here in a second. And this one hasn't gone yet, so we'll try and get a stun here, which we did, so we waste her turn, which is great. So, I think I want to hit here, because I'll probably finish her. Good. This is actually a Santa Claus champion, so they have different holiday-themed champions. There's an elf champion that I have, a jingle hunter, a jingle elf, a Santa Claus, and a reindeer, which is quite good. The random flavor on a lot of their stuff is good. So this is stunned, this is stunned, this is stunned. Gonna hit this guy in the middle because he's not stunned. I bet I could probably do most of this campaign, which would be great, Because when you get 3 stars on all of the Nightmare campaign, you get a Sacred Shard, which guarantees an epic or legendary champion, which is great. You are opening Twitch API in the works for raid. I am not, Nemesis. So something that's great if you wanted to take a peek at all the champions. I think there's like over 400 champions in the game right now, and they add some more every month. This website lists all of the champions and has like approximate rankings for them. But one of the things that I found really interesting about the team building aspect of this game is that champions aren't, generally speaking, a lot of champions aren't just generically always good or always bad. Some are good everywhere, but a lot of them have certain spots where they're good and other spots where they're worse. Catch you later, Lamacopter. Oh, this champion. So, if you're ever wondering what an icon means, you can always click info. This has an unkillable buff on it right now. So, if I smack this, it's not going to die until this buff goes off it. So, he's guaranteed to get one more attack, basically. Yeah, these have a mechanic that lets them come back after they die for a final hit. I can still, however, stun them, potentially. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Oh, I guess he could have finished that off. Probably should have done that. I'm gonna try and stun this guy before he kills my stag. Okay, so stun there is great, so now stag can finish this. Yeah, and I'm gonna highlight some of the dungeons here after we finish. I'm gonna finish stage 8 of the campaign and then highlight some of the dungeons. They do a good job of presenting lots of different puzzles, and that's the interesting part of the game to me, is figuring out from your pool of champions how you complete the different dungeons. In a lot of ways, the game kind of feels like it has similarities to a card game where net decking is kind of impossible because not everyone has the same champions. So like when you're looking at different pieces of raid content, you'll see people that are like, okay, well, they have some of the same ones I do, but if they have the same champions, they don't have the same gear, and there's a lot of still stuff to figure out, even when you're looking at guides. It scratches a lot of that same kind of problem-solving itch that I have from card games. Let's finish this guy off. Oh no, Trunda! Don't die, Trunda! Alright. Hit that. Oh, that was a weak hit. That's not good. Alright, she's gonna get to go again here, so that's good. Hopefully she can stun here. Perfect. So I wanted to save her drop bombs for the last wave here, because the last wave tends to be the hardest. Stag is very, very good, yeah. This might be one where, yeah, okay, so they killed Trundle. So I can still beat this campaign level and get some gold and stuff from it, but even if we do, I'm not gonna get the 3 stars I wanted. We might also just not beat it. We'll see. Stag's okay. Stag is mostly a utility champion. And that guy comes back, yeah. Uh-oh. Staggy boy. Oh, staggy boy. And we died. Alright, that's fine. I wanna highlight some other parts of the game anyways. So, anything good in the market? Usually you want to buy mystery shards in the market. Never have too many mystery shards. I'm gonna open some of those here in a little bit. What else? Let's look at some of the dungeon battles. So there are these dungeons here have small variations, but they're all kind of similar. These are a resource called potions that you farm to make your champions more powerful. Any way to check and see if it was counted? Yes, I have a thing. I should be paying attention. I should turn the sound on actually from it so it pops up. You did get counted, Self Form, I've got it. So Self Form and Jack and Sluey, thanks for Cell form, you completed the tutorial. Yeah, it tells me when people registered and when they completed the tutorial, so that's sweet. All right. Let's check out the dragon. So, my account at this point is what we would refer to as an end game. I'm towards the end of raid, and unlike the campaign there that you just saw, where I was having to kind of go through and figure out the optimal ways to fight with my two champions. One of the things you want to do in raid as you get towards the end of the game, and there's quests that ask you to do this, is you want to figure out how to make your champions be able to run through the dungeons with optimal times on their own. So while there's parts of the game like the Nightmare campaign and the PvP arena that are about kind of turn-based tactical combat, another big part of the game as you dive into it is figuring out how to optimize your teams so that way they can run through this content and farm you items in reasonable amounts of time. So this is one of the dungeons that I have here, and these are my 5 champions that do the best in this dungeon. You can actually see I'm using Trunda here again, the dwarf on the side. And I can pause this auto button at any time and start taking turns myself if I want. The computer is worse at running your characters than you are because it just follows like an AI style script. So figuring out how the AI works and how to maximize your runs is a big part of it. So you can see here, we've got the big old dragon at the end of this, and you can click at their top to see what their... Hey, thanks for the 41 months, Dow's. I appreciate that. Welcome back. You can see his different abilities here. He has a swipe that reduces my guy's attack. He has a wall of fire that puts poison on them. And then he has an inhale where he takes a breath in here. So let me show what the inhale looks like. So we'll smack him with her. We'll try and put some debuffs on him. Smack him with this. And then you can see his turn meter slowly going across at the top there. And his health is slowly ticking down as we smack him. So my characters are a bit faster than his. So he breathes fire here. So part of this battle is figuring out how to last through when he goes up to breathe fire. So when his health turns purple here, if you can deal enough damage to him while he's in this upward position before he gets through to breathe fire, he won't get to breathe fire at you. He'll use his weaker attack. And I think this team usually gets through that. So let's click auto and see what they do. So she powers him up. You can see they smack him. The health total works down. I think Trunda, maybe? We'll see. It might be close. You can see these guys, the Royal Guards, do a ton of damage when they do their takedown attack. You can see they all get hit there. Royal Guard's one of the stronger dungeon champs in the game. Hey, Metsu. Thanks for the 9 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And thanks to the folks that checked it out. Jacopo, thanks for playing through the tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. And then at the end of the run, you get some dollary dues. My champions are all at max level here, so they don't get any experience. If they weren't at max level, they'd do that. Shield's kind of mediocre. Go ahead and sell that one. Let's take a peekaboo at some of the other dungeons. My teams for Ice Golem and Fire Knight actually aren't that good. I haven't farmed. My Ice Golem team is good. My Fire Knight dungeon has not been super fantastic. Oh, I actually de-geared my second Cold Heart. So I actually need to think about what champions I want to put through when I do this run through here. I haven't done this run since I got Arbiter. Hey, Twin to Win. See, you gave him some dollary dues. Hope you're enjoying it. So what do I want to do here? So what this boss does...
Another one.
Thanks, Louie, for checking them out. I appreciate it. Let's move that up a little bit. What this boss does is there's 2 waves in this dungeon, and then the final boss has a big shield in front of him that you have to break the shield before you can deal damage to him. And to get through the shield, you have to do a certain number of hits. So champions that are ideal in this dungeon are champions like Cold Heart here. her primary attack hits 4 times to go through. So I have Allure here as another champion that's good in here because her attack hits 3 times. So I probably want to put some other champions that hit multiple times on here. I definitely want Arbiter in my group. Champions also have an aura on them that give your champions different bonuses in certain situations. So her aura makes my champions faster in the dungeon. Hey, thanks Jack for completing the tutorial. I appreciate it. If that ticker gets to 180, I get a little bit of a bonus, so I appreciate everybody that checks that out. So who do I want to use? Yeah, Fire Knights is tough. Getting the champions to do what you want on Fire Knight on auto is exceedingly difficult because of how his shield goes up and how your champions time things. Who do I have built out that might be okay here? What is her? I actually don't know that I have an aura that I want to use, so this aura only works in faction crypts, which are not relevant here. I could just bring in my counterattack champion, that's true. Let's try these champions and see what they do. So the Stag Knight's another one that I was using in the campaign. He's very good because he makes all of their champions have less attack and less defense, so it makes it a little bit easier to get through the waves. I did get Catacomb Counselor. He would be good in this dungeon if I had him. If I had him built out. I don't have him built yet. You can see him kind of working through the waves. One of the things that makes some of your runs easier is Arbiter here is a champion that can revive your champions. So if they die in the run, she can bring them back up. The squad's actually having a pretty good clear time. I haven't touched this dungeon since I finished the Arbiter missions. She's real good here. So one of the things you can see here, we talked about the affinities a little bit. Allure is not great on this level in the waves because she's blue affinity versus red affinity waves, but her A1, her first attack, hits 3 times, so she's very good against the actual boss, which is nice. Yeah, I've autoed through all of the dungeons at different points, but I haven't done all of them since I re-geared some of my champions. Yeah, there's a speed toggle here in the corner if you want to make your runs a little bit faster. Is there a reason not use checks? There's not. My hotkey for muting toggled it off. So it looks like they're gonna get through to the goal or to the Fire Knight in about 2 minutes. How much would you say you spent on raid? I can give you an exact number because I log it for tax purposes. I get to write it off. I think I've put in a little under $1,000. I would not have probably spent that much if I didn't get sponsorship stuff through them. I have a budget every month that I stick to for my entertainment budget. So I've been spending my $100 a month entertainment budget on raid pretty regularly. And then, so here you can see this final fight he has his shield here, which is worth 10 points. So we have to hit him 10 times before his shield comes down. So Stag Knight here will attack this. I'm just a little baby raid whale. And then Shill, her A1 hits 3 times and puts it to 6. And then her A1 hits 4 times. We'll put this up just in case we don't get it all the way down. And you can see here, I Ideally, if I was running this dungeon a lot, I would want to try and let these champions auto through it, but I pulled the auto run off here, and I'm manually controlling it here at the end. Actually, let's click auto back on and see how they do on their own. So, my Allure here and my Cold Heart both have abilities that reduce the turn meter here. So the reason why Allure is so good in this dungeon, even though she's not great in the waves because she's the wrong affinity, is her A1 knocks the turn meter down a lot of the time if it doesn't have a weak hit like it just did. So ideally in this battle, when you break, you need a team that breaks the shield initially, and then you have some kind of champions that reduce the turn meter consistently so he doesn't get another turn. And there are certain bosses where they're immune to turn meter reduction, so you can't just do this and never give the boss a turn in every dungeon. That is a unique aspect to the problem-solving scenario of this dungeon. Hey, Kaisen, thanks for completing the tutorial. I appreciate that. My team is essentially Nexus. Yes, in this boss, the goal is making your team Nexus of Fate, essentially. And then this item kind of sucked, so we'll sell it. So again, you can see here, both the dungeons we went through, my conclusion at the end was the item kind of sucks, and I sold it. So when you're trying to farm better gear, you'll often run through dungeons a few times. You can see here, this tells me my best time through this dungeon is 3 minutes and 35 seconds. And that was an auto run. So one of the things when you're trying to min-max and optimize is you're trying to get those numbers down. And you can see actually if I go to the stage selection, there's different levels in each of these dungeons, and I can see my different best time on all of them. And it tells me what kind of gear and stuff you get as prizes for what the dungeon are. So I can run the highest level dungeon in each of the dungeons here at this point. I've worked on my teams a bunch. There's 2 other dungeons that have kind of unique problems. So let's go to the Ice Golem here. Is our best champion to start? Yeah, if you're going to play the game, the Wizard champion's objectively the best. Kale. So if you're gonna play through and you think it's a game you might like, Kale will jumpstart you a little bit. I actually chose the Archer and still got along plenty fine. Like, you can do content with any of them, but as far as like overall progression, Kale's definitely the best. The Wizard. Alright, so this is another dungeon I actually haven't done since I got my Arbiter. So let's talk about her. Arbiter is an incredibly good champion, and again, Raid does a good job of helping you get champions that are good without having to be super fortunate. Obviously, if you're lucky and open busted champions, you can be better off, but Arbiter here, you actually get for completing a bunch of these missions here, and I think I was playing for a little over 4 months before I earned her down here at the end. So I haven't revisited some of these dungeons since I got her. She's a really powerful champion. Let's take a look at. I want to try. I also, in addition to having just gotten a Arbiter, I also have Umbral Enchantress, who should be pretty good here because Umbral Enchantress puts block debuffs on the wave. Or block buffs on the wave, and one of the waves in this Ice Golem dungeon puts a really strong buff up. Yeah, and also, just to talk about the amount of time you can log if you enjoy the game, like, I've been playing the game a bunch for going on 4 months here. Wow, that was a good clear. It was a 12-second wave clear, that's real good. So this wave puts up reflect damage. She put block buffs up on everything but that one, so that's great. Yeah, the game's a good time sink. And the fact that it's like a half idle game once you get your teams optimized actually makes it a lot of fun for me. Because I'm able to, you know, kind of think about it when I'm not playing it and then, like, can spend my energy without being 100% focused on it. So one of my champions died here, you can see in this wave. Eventually, my Arbiter is going to have her revive skill pop off. Well, my Ice Golem time might actually be really good. This has been a quick run. So we're getting, so the actual boss fight of this one is the longest boss fight of any of them. So what he does, if you haven't played through these and you're playing through them yourself the first time, you're going to want to stop and look at them. He has a passive ability here where whenever his health drops below a certain threshold, he automatically attacks everyone on our team and he revives his minions. Now, at a glance, that makes you think, well, you just want to ignore the minions. But the kicker here is he ignores 50% of your champion's defense for each of his minions alive. So when you auto this, your champions will prioritize killing the minions, because if you don't kill the minions, his passive here is going to mess you up. And I'm actually not sure if this composition is going to be able to get through the boss here at the end, because I haven't run it before, so let's see. Yeah, Rotos, and again, BB Trombone there in chat said they got a Rotos. Rotos is a champion that stops things from reviving with one of his abilities, so he's very reasonable in this dungeon. Yeah, this clear should be super quick. We're at 2 minutes, and I paused to talk for a minute. Are there any strategic defaults that you can set for auto? So you can actually, while it's on the auto run, I could click on the boss and it'll automatically target him without me having to do anything else. But again, that would be bad. That would not be ideal, because then his passive will mess us up. You see, we triggered his Frigid Vengeance. He smacks everyone. And again, see, this is the problem. So I actually am going to lose this dungeon run here the way that just happened. So my what's it called, my Royal Guard popped off his big ability and smacked the boss without killing the minions, triggering his Frigid Vengeance, which was not a good scene for us there. Huh? So again, one of the kind of things that you're like working to solve is like, even when you can auto these dungeons with better champions, figuring out which Royal Guard and Cold Heart are risky. Yeah, because of what you just saw there. So, hey, thanks Long Pants for finishing the tutorial and checking out Raid. I appreciate it. So, for example, let's try it. It's kind of neat that we failed, because we could show some of the switching around. I'm gonna try and swap in Sky Touch Shaman, who her aura gives all my champions 25% extra health, and then she is a healer. Her abilities, her Immortal Skies gives my champions revive on death and blocks debuffs so they don't get frozen. And she has a passive ability where every time her turn comes up, my entire team gets healed. She's also very cold. You know, not a lot of clothes there. We're gonna send her into the Ice Golem dungeon, so hopefully she doesn't get too chilly. We'll see here, without Royal Guard, my time through these waves is probably going to be a bit slower. Oh, that's a neat combo. So, Sky Touch Shaman removes the penalty. So, Enchantress here, I didn't show her kit before we started. Her skill kit puts a debuff on herself, but then Sky Touch Shaman got rid of the debuff, which is kind of neat. Alright, Enchantress went down. That's fine. She has Destiny's Call to bring him back up. Trundle drops some bombs. Actually have really good wave clear time here still, even without the Royal Guard, which is nice. I'm gonna get through in like about a minute. Yeah, 54 seconds. Let's see how the boss fight goes this time without Royal Guard. Yeah, Trunda is built like a truck. She's got like 60k power, max crit damage. She's my arena nuker. Are there any sort of audio or graphic settings in the application? Yeah, if you click in the top left-hand corner on your player portrait, there are settings in there for graphics and audio. There are both scantily clad men and women in this game. Like the Bloodgorge champion I have looks pretty decidedly male, and he's also wearing very little clothing. Oh, does it say it can't be removed? No, I'm gonna have to look when we get to her. Cannot be resisted, blocked, and cannot be removed. Ooh, I think you're right. I think that is a bug. I should probably report that then. This is the first time I've used these two together on a team before. Yeah, it totally just stripped it right off there, huh? She did her thing, and it stripped it right off. And you can see, if we hit info here, my champions have this block debuffs up from the Sky Touch Shaman, which helps them not get frozen when he does his Frigid Vengeance thing. Looks like we're going to be successful here. I don't have anyone like Royal Guard on this team that's going to accidentally push through too soon. And you can see here, Trunda's hit actually triggered him before the last one was dead. But Sky Touch Shaman is keeping everyone so healthy, it's like not a big deal. Looks like we'll have a successful run this time. Probably about 3 minutes. I paused for like 15 seconds there. It's probably 3.5, somewhere in that range. It's not a bad clear time for this dungeon. Almost dead. How much accuracy is required to beat his... I don't know. I think the general rule of thumb is you want about 250 accuracy in general for the end game dungeons. I think is about what you expect to see. And then the last dungeon in the set here, and it's not gonna look like it's very hard because my team is well put together for this, but the spider dungeon is one of the harder dungeons in this game to get through, and I finally got the champions and the gear together to clear through it pretty quickly.
Download.
Hey, Kind Fiend, thanks for checking out Raid and playing through the tutorial. I appreciate it. So the spider is kind of unique compared to those other dungeons where there were 2 waves plus a boss. And you can see here there's a bunch of spider babies, and every turn 2 more spiderlings spawn up to a maximum of 10 spiders. And then this champion, or this enemy has an ability where it also eats the spider babies every 2 turns to heal itself. So the key to getting through this battle is being able to control the spider's turn meter a little bit so it doesn't get a turn. And then also dealing damage before it can eat the babies a lot of the time. My miscreated monster here has an ability that puts shields up on my champions. Yeah, you'll notice a lot of my champions are AoE for here. So he hits them with that, and then a white bar pops up that's a shield. And then Royal Guard is one of the better dungeon champions in the game. This is the guy that got us in trouble. We should use Umbral here. Got you in under 40 seconds. My auto runs on here tend to be about 50, but I haven't tried Umbral yet. She might be... Umbral might be better than Miscreated Monster. So the problem with Umbral in my composition here is because I have these 2 Royal Guards with Takedown, they kill the spider babies. So like more spider babies would come in. And you can see my champions have an ability where they nuke the turn meter down, and then Coldheart's key in this dungeon, she drops the turn meter fully when she hits, so you're going to see its bar get wiped out here when she hits them. And then you can see some of these spider babies are going to get a chance to attack one of my champions here. before we kill the mama, but the shield plus the protection from my monster should keep her alive. I probably, and this is again where like the tuning and figuring out how your teams get built come into play. If I cared more, I'd probably tune this so my monster is a little bit slower than my Cold Heart, so that way her shield lasts a little bit longer. That's like not that big of a deal because I generally clear anyways. Well, the spider might heal here. If I wanted to min-max this dungeon some more, I would figure it out so the spider never heals, but sometimes on my run the spider heals. Although there's a takedown. And then you saw it eat the spider babies, then healed a little bit. Yeah, in general, so the spider dungeon is one that kind of changes as you get later into it. In the earlier stages of in the earlier stages of the dungeon, you generally get through it by having champions that do AoE damage and clear through them. Like up till about 15 or 16, you can AoE through them. But as you get to 17, 18, 19, 20, the life of the spiderlings scales up to the point where it's generally more strategically beneficial to either crowd control them with stuns or have a champion with shields up on it that can tank the hits while you kill the mama. And again, all of these dungeons have lots of different levels in them, and you'll note on these the affinity of the dungeon changes as you go through the wave. So like for example, in some of these, like on the spider den, for example, this spider 19 is a red affinity. So my team that I use here for spider 20 actually can't beat spider 19 because it uses 3 blue champions to try and nuke through the spider's health, and blue champions will frequently get weak hits on the wrong affinity. So there's challenge to finding teams that can get you over those humps to get to the final ones where you want to farm as well. Someone had asked earlier if there was co-op in this game. What are the clans for? Yeah, let's talk about the clans. So we have like 4, 5, or 6 Hoaglandia clans. One's called actual Hoaglandia here. And the clans do 2 things together right now. So for starters, every single day, and I already did it today, there's a check-in button right here. And if everybody checks in and does some other stuff, you get stars. And when the clan as a whole gets 90 stars, there's a chest that unlocks here and gives you some free stuff. So even if you're just starting out, if you're going to play the game, make sure you join any of the Hoaglandia clans just so you can check in each day and collect the chest. So the other things I have to do to get more stars for today are fight in the arena, which is PvP, and then fight the clan boss at least 2 times. You can see here I actually fought the clan boss once already today. I do that in the morning when I wake up usually. Hey, Kind Fiend. Glad you're enjoying Raid enough to spend a couple of bucks. Alright, so let's look at the clan boss. So the clan boss here is a monster that is scaling difficulty as you go. So one of the things too, if you're just starting out, you wouldn't want to be in the main Hoaglandia clan right away, because we kill the Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare clan bosses each day. And when you kill the clan boss together, you get prizes at the end of the day based on how much damage you did. So for the Nightmare clan boss, I want to try and get up to 40 million damage over the course of the day with my teams by spending my clan boss keys. So let's pop in. Let's pop in here. I actually just redid my clan boss team last night, thinking about some of the different things in it. So one of, just to highlight here what my different champions do in here and why my team is well put together. So I'm going to click through a couple of these and then show you at the end. The last guy has Frozen. I actually hit 20 million on my first key with Frozen today. So this champion here has an ability called Stonewall, which gives my allies a counterattack mechanic, which basically says when they get hit by the clan boss, my guys attack them back, which is sweet. So one of the things that's interesting about this is with this counterattack team, it's not optimal to just make all my champions as fast as possible because I want to try and line up my champions' attacks into theirs. So that way, every time this big, ugly idiot slams them all, they have this counterattack up, is the goal. So this guy does 3 different attacks. He slams everything and gives himself an attack buff. He slams everything and gives an attack minus. And then he does a one-shot where he punches someone and stuns them. And again, I've worked on looking at how the clan boss fights and his turn sequencing to get my champions into a cycle here, so that way they loop through their abilities a similar pace to he does. And the clan boss is a longer fight, regardless of whether or not you're running on auto or manual. This is a fight where your team's not going to kill him. You can see he's got a ton of health up here. You have to fight together as a clan to bring him down each day. So the nightmare level, I think, has like 600 million health. So there's like a little over a dozen of us that hit it every day to take it down and get collect the rewards. So I'm playing, yeah, this is a game that exists on mobile too, so if you download it and play the tutorial using my link and you decide you like the game, I actually play a majority on mobile because outside of streaming, I don't like to sit in front of my computer that much. So the non-Magic games that I play are mostly mobile games. The graphics aren't quite this crisp on mobile, but they're honestly relatively close. But it does have a PC client as well, so for someone who's primarily a PC gamer, your account translates back and forth between both. One of the things the clan boss does too here, you can see he's not doing a ton of damage to my team right now. If you read through his passives up here, starting from the 10th turn, the damage each of his skills deal increases, and starting on the 20th turn, it increases by a ton. So you can see here, the game is counting my damage from the run over here, so we're currently on turn 11, and my guys have dealt a total of 6 million damage to him. So ideally, over the course of the day, you get 4 clan boss keys. So my goal for this team is to try and do 20 million damage per key that I spend, so I can get that max reward with just 2 of my keys. And you can see if you watch my champions, so the first couple of times I do a run with the new build, you really watch them closely to make sure it's lining up well. You can see it is working out, so every time he does one of his AoE attacks, my team has this counterattack buff up, so that way he slams, now they all get to counterattack. I actually think when I noticed my run this morning, I think my Sky Touch Shaman might be slightly too fast. Yeah, and you can see here, as this last slam attack happened, my Sky Touch Shaman no longer had counterattack up. So I actually probably want to revisit how she's built and take her speed and pull it down, so that way she lines up better. Because I bet without having that protection up on her from the ally protect, she's gonna die before the rest of my team dies. Because her speed is kind of getting out of sync and not having that protect up. Yes, yeah, the clan boss in general, especially the higher levels, the pop-up offers ever repeat was for 3 shards and buy it again. Some of them are explicitly just new player type things. Some of them come up on a rotation pretty regularly, but some of them are just brand new player stuff. She might have turn meter masteries. Sky Touch Shaman is also a tough one to fully get the speeds to tune with, because she randomly slows herself as part of her kit, which makes things difficult. Although it looks like she's actually in sync again here. Yeah, okay, so like this time through, she actually had both counterattacks and protects up here. Hey, Testy Fella, thanks for the 12 months, I appreciate that, welcome back. Bikke, thanks for completing the tutorial, I think I missed that one, I appreciate it. Yeah, this particular fight has a ton of math that goes into it for figuring out how you want things to line up. There's people that, like, have just tons and tons of videos dedicated to figuring out the math on how this looks. Why does it look like the boss healths keep going up? It's actually just not dropping by that much because this thing just has so much health because it's designed for, like, a bunch of you to all kill it at once. One thing I wish Raid had on the PC is I just clicked out of Raid to give someone mod there. The sound turns off when you click off the Raid window, which is annoying. I wish it had an option to leave that up. Something that's kind of sweet here, you see her turn started and everybody else healed. Hey, Malicious, thanks for completing the tutorial. I appreciate you checking out Raid. Her passive here says every turn she heals the rest of my champions after she hurts herself a little bit. So she kind of helps sustain the rest of my team through this fight, which is great. It's one of the reasons why my champions are lasting and not just dying. And then my Steel Skull over here has the ability to heal someone else as well. So she keeps everybody else alive, and then he keeps her alive, generally speaking. Yeah, I agree, better than you, Ish. We might get close to my goal here. We're a couple million short at the moment. My Frozen Banshee died already, so we might not quite hit that 20 million mark. He died, but he had a revive on death on him, so that's nice. So there's the stone wall. Yeah, we might get close. We might get close. If I can 2-key on red affinity, which is my hardest affinity probably, that would be great. Oh, doesn't look like it. All right, going down. Sugar, we're going down. All right, so we hit 19.7 million here. That might actually be close. I think my first run was a little sick. So my first run this morning was a little bit higher than that. So I've got 40.2 million on my 2 keys here. And 39 million is the goal. So my first, there's some variance in what happens. But yeah, Steel Skull is very good, and red is his good affinity. So that's nice. Let's take a look at PvP. So the arena is the PvP aspect of the game. Let's start with a team that's probably free eats. So this is probably my primary arena team at this point, and just kind of to describe what they do is Arbiter has the ability to give the rest of my team extra speed and attack. So she has the most speed stacked on her. She's very zoom. So if you look at the speed here, she has 300 speed on her. And then my next champion, the Enchantress, she only has 229 speed, but that's fine because Arbiter drags her speed and the rest of the team up. So Arbiter goes first, then Enchantress goes, and Enchantress has an ability to provoke all of my opponent's champions. So instead of using their stronger abilities, they use their base attack to attack her. And then Stag and Trunda are who we used in the PvE earlier today. Stag makes their champions weaker, and then Trunda nukes them for lots of damage. Let's pop it in here and see. If we go first, usually we win. So yeah, so you can see here, their Sifi would go next, probably before mine. But Arbiter's ability here raises my turn meter. Then Enchantress, because of the boost from here, gets to cut in front of their Sifi. And then we'll use Undying Evil here, which hits all of them. You can see she successfully debuffed all of their champions. So that puts a provoke on them. So now, instead of any of these getting to use any of their more powerful attacks, they'll have to use their regular attacks on her. And then Stag hits them with debuffs. And then Trunda drops the bombs. So, generally speaking, you'll see Arbiter is a champion that everybody in the game gets for progressing through the missions. So Arbiter is a very common lead champion for people. You can see here a lot of people in here are using Arbiter as their lead like I am. Hey, JKM, thanks for the FR, I appreciate that. Welcome back. So I'm going to grab, this team is probably free eats too because they don't have a champion making their guys faster. Yeah, and you can see their champions are significantly slower than mine, so I wonder if they'll probably have more defensive gear. Probably not enough that they'll survive Trunda, but we'll see. Debuff, drop bombs. Ooh, they survived hits, chat. That's exciting. I like a challenge. It's not really a challenge, chat. We got him. Yeah, this is the PvP. So the way I actually really like the PvP, the way the PvP in this game works from the perspective of time management. So how this works is each player sets a defensive team, and I currently use the same team for defense and offense mostly, and then you get pages of other people's defensive teams to attack. So even the PvP aspect of this game, if I'm like playing on my phone and like the kids need something, I could just like put it down and walk away and come back to it in a couple minutes without losing anything. And we can see here there's a battle log here, so my defense team is great. So the last three, like a bunch of the people here that have decided to try and attack me got their stuff pushed in. So it looks like this team beat me and this team beat me. Yeah, I like it a lot too. So as you go up, so I'm actually, if you look at the tiers, I'm at the second highest tier here. And then the platinum tier is very competitive. I've yet to fully push into that. There's only 300 players in platinum at any given point. So I'm at the second highest area here. And the way you get up into platinum is you can see here, when I beat these different teams, I get points for beating them. And as I get points, I climb up and up and up. And if I pass 3722, I bump into platinum. And what it takes to get into platinum varies month to month or varies week to week as people play. The arena sections last for 1 week. Let's try and pick out some other ones here. So they have a speed lead, but our Arbiter is faster. Goodbye, friends. I think that's all the people that don't have Arbiter. And then some of the, what's my Arbiter speed? 300. I often go first. As you get higher up, people have their comp's actually almost identical to ours. They have Arbiter, Stag, Trunda. They just have a Martyr instead of an Enchantress. So let's see. Other people who have Arbiters are often closer to us, so sometimes, yeah, team composition and how fast they are. So being quicker is often a pretty big advantage, but there are arena battles where I go second and then end up still winning. Also, some of the time, depending on how their speed is, even though I turn meter boost with my Arbiter, I'll get cut in line. So like she'll boost, but their lead will be faster than this with a boost, if that makes sense. And you can see here, this was fast enough that even with the boost, this went before here, which is why this provoke is pretty key. So I can actually talk about some of the details I'm building here in a second. Let me just drop some bombs. Ooh, that guy survived. Get him. So, one of the things that goes into building the champions is that you prioritize different stats when building them. So, for example, on Arbiter, when I'm searching out gear, I prioritize stacking as much speed as possible so she can potentially go first and bring everybody up. Enchantress, when I geared her out, I prioritized 3 stats. So I prioritized her speed getting high, so that way she can go after my Arbiter without getting cut, ideally. Yeah, a lot of the gameplay is in how you end up building things out, and some of the opposing champion compositions, there's decisions in like, well, if their team has a lot of blue guys, for example, I don't really want to use Stag because he's green and his debuffs generally won't apply if he's green. So, in addition to prioritizing speed here, you'll also note that this champion has, it's a little hidden there, this champion has 300 accuracy, because another thing that gets checked is there's accuracy and resistance. So if you try to apply a debuff, there's an accuracy versus resistance check to see if they can resist your debuff. So getting this champion up really high on accuracy was important, so that way her provokes actually apply when she goes. And then Trunda, for example, she's real thick. She's my nuker. And Trunda here, her speed is much slower than, she's almost half the speed of my Arbiter, and she's, like 60 points slower than my my Enchantress, because her goal is to deal damage. So if you notice here, her crit rate is almost 100%. She crits 98% of the time, and her damage when she crits does 238% her normal damage. So the things I prioritized on her was getting her crit rate as close to maximized as possible, and then pulling up the damage so she hits like a truck. And getting extra attack is also useful as well. Yeah, she's the DPS. The items in the game, let's build a character. I wanted to rebuild my Blood Gorge because I had him built for something and I didn't like. I tried to build him for clan boss and he wasn't useful in the clan boss. So I'm gonna pull the gear off of him here. And then we'll take a peekaboo at what we want to look into in terms of building him out. So I think I want to use my Blood Gorge. So his base stats are very high on attack. So he's also pretty reasonable as a DPS output. So I want to be able, I think, to sub in Blood Gorged over my Stag Knight against largely blue composition, so he can deal damage as a red champion there, is the goal. And then other people that have played a bunch of Raid in chat, remind me if I'm wrong, you get a plus 15% crit damage, or crit rate against things that you're strong against, right? So him against blue champions, he's 15% extra to crit. So, what I would like to do, so since we get 15% extra chance to deal critical rates, when you're dealing damage output characters in this game, generally speaking, you want to try and get their crit rate as close to 100% as possible. But because I'm mainly going to use this champion against compositions that have blue champions, I actually only need to get his crit rate to 85%. And there's filters here for the different items. This is one of the best upgrades they made. So to start, different items have different stats on them. So each item has a primary stat and then different substats, which is why, because the items are randomly generated, there aren't just like guides that you copy paste verbatim. A lot of it is figuring out your own min-maxing with the items that you farmed. So for example, gloves in this game are the only item that can have crit damage as its primary stat here. So I'm going to filter to crit damage primary stat and see what I want to do here. Find a pair of gloves that make my boy hum. Because if we're going to max out his crit rate, we also want to max out his crit damage. So those are the first two stats I'm going to want to build towards. These are pretty good here. So these give crit damage, and gloves that give crit damage and also crit rate tend to be phenomenal because it fills in your stat that complements it. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these on him to start. Usually when I'm building characters out, I'll put one or two items on him to get an approximate feel for what I want, and then look to fill in the other three pieces with the numbers I'm looking for. And you can see here, on my stats on the right, it tells me how these things are going to change when I equip this item. So equipping this will pump his crit damage up by 65. Up by 10% his crit rate, his attack and his damage as well, a little bit of accuracy, so we'll throw those on him. Another thing you'll see here is there's different sets of items, and if you meet the set requirement, you get a bonus. So the Divine Speed set here, for instance, says if you have 2 Divine Speed items, he gains 12% speed and has a shield for the first 3 turns. Cruel set gets 15% extra attack and ignores some defense. There's also 4 set pieces that do a little bit more powerful effects. Yeah, these are very good gloves for a nuker. Alright, so after I put crit damage gloves on him, the next thing I'm going to figure out, we want to get him to 85% crit rate is the first thing I want to do. So I need to find 55% more crit rate chance, basically, in the rest of my items. So if I click over here on my filters and click over to substats, I can search for just items that give a crit rate bonus on their substat. So all of these items here in my thing, and you can see how there just ends up being a ton of permutations of things that you can do because all of these items have varying amounts of crit rate. How important are set bonuses? You prioritize the individuals. So in general, you want to prioritize the individual stats, and you view the set bonuses as an extra nice to have, but not something that you necessarily have to have. So for example here, this item is kind of insane for this build because I remembered that I had this one rolled up. So this item has 21% crit rate on it. So, you know, of the 55% crit rate I need to get out of these other 5 slots, that's 21% of it, which is pretty insane. How the items work, let's take a peek. So yeah, what do the numbers mean? So the numbers are the levels. So you'll see here, I have a lot of items in here that I've already leveled up from different character builds or seeing what they do. This offense shield here is an item that's completely unleveled. So when I hit upgrade once, it upgrades the primary stat on the item. Every 4 levels, a substat gets upgraded. So let's upgrade this to level 4, and every time you'll see this slides up. And then which substat you roll is random. So there's some variance and some RNG in how ideal an item is in a lot of ways. So a lot of the time, you'll want to roll items up before you commit them to a character. Now, you'll also notice some of my items have different colors. So this is a legendary item, so it has 4 substats. If we look back at this weapon that I showed earlier that I said would be good for him, this is epic, so it only has 3 substats to start. However, if I roll this item up to level 16, it'll gain a 4th stat. Rare items start with just 2 substats, but when they hit 12 and 16, they gain the 3rd and 4th. However, legendary and epics are better because they get to upgrade the substats as opposed to just unlocking new ones. So this rare item will only ever have 1 upgrade at 2, because at 12 and 16, it's just going to unlock new ones. So let's, I think I'm going to go ahead and throw, this weapon's like pretty ideal for him, so I'm going to go ahead and equip it. And then now, so this is set offense here, gives plus 15% attack, and having extra attack on my nuker would probably be good. So I'm going to take a peek at the rest of these items here. Like this is a pretty good shield. So this has a little bit more crit rate on it, has plenty of speed. While I don't need this champion to be super fast like Arbiter, having some speed on him so he doesn't get cut in line, you cannot reroll substats. So that's why like an item like this where I triple rolled the crit rate is kind of like triple or quad rolls on epics or legendary or just chef kiss. And sometimes you get an item that looks like it could be reasonable and you roll it up and you hit bad upgrades and then you just trash it. Alright, so I'm gonna equip this onto him, which gives her, and you can see here it says I have the set info for extra bonuses now. So if we continue looking at this guy with the build, we're looking for crit rate on him. If I look at his info, he's at 57% crit rate, and the goal here is 85 at least. If we go over 85, that's fine, but 85 will mean he always crits blue people, blue aligned champions. So that means I need, what, 28% more? So I need 28% more crit rate out of my other 3 pieces. There's also a crit rate set here where if I put 2 of these pieces on him, he'll get a 12% bonus. So sometimes, for example, I don't need to necessarily search just crit rate here. I can look at just generic crit rate items because all of these basically come with 6% crit rate because the pair of them will give 12. So I can look at some of these, like this item, for example, is pretty reasonable because it's a crit rate item, so it basically comes with 6%, and then it also gives crit damage. So like if I wanted to narrow down my search a little bit too, I could look explicitly for items for my nuker that give crit rate and crit damage. Look at some of these helms. This is okay. He doesn't really need health. It's just, it's not a bad stat though. So this is 6% crit rate, and this is 0%, but together they would give 12. So if I equipped both of these, that would give me 18% total of the 28 I'm looking for. So that means I would need to find 10% crit rate on his chest piece. So it does cost you silver to remove items from champions. So once you get your first few down, you don't want to willy-nilly equip the last ones. And the reason why they do that, I think, is because they don't want you just shuffling the same one good gear set back and forth between a bunch of different champions. There's also a little bit of grinding your currency out there as well. But I think from a game theory perspective, that's what they're trying to avoid. So now I can look for just chests that might have at least 10% crit rate on them. Also, this champion is attack-based, so I probably want to filter to look for a chest that has an attack percent on it. So this one's real close. You can see here, this one rolled crit damage, but not crit rate. So this one would not work with those other 2 items I found. This would actually be pretty, yeah, I agree, a preview function would be nice. This would actually be pretty good. It's got some speed on it. It's got more than the crit rate that I need. Amulets don't have crit rate on them, Voltaic. That's not a stat they can roll. They can roll crit damage, they can't roll crit rate. Oh, I lost my filter. So this, attack percent, and it's this one. I think this is good. So we'll equip this. And then, oh, that's not what I wanted to click. I don't need info, I know the info. So then I wanted some crit rate pieces. I think it was this helmet and these boots. They give me 18%. Yeah, I'm currently at 72, so it'll put me to 90%, which is over my 85% goal. So he'll be a little bit better at critting people who aren't, blue. So he's not too bad. He's got 177 overall, which isn't terrible. That's about in the range of what my nuker should be. Boots can give, so something to know about stats if you're gonna play the game. Weapons are always flat attack, helmets are always flat HP, and shields are always flat defense. But gloves, chests, and boots vary. So gloves are the only ones that do crit damage and crit rate, but they also do attack, defense, health, stuff like that. Chest plates, thanks to Triskelion for completing the tutorial. I appreciate the support. Thanks for checking out Raid. And then chest pieces can be attack, defense, HP, and chest pieces are the only ones that can have accuracy or resist on them as primary stats. And then boots are the only ones that can help you go zoom. They're the only ones that can help you go faster on their primary stats. So 40 speed boots are real good. All right, so the last time I mentioned when I built this guy last time, on these last 3 slots here, I was building him to try and be on my clan boss team, which I meant I wanted high defense. So if you look here, all of these are defense-based banners. So let's get some attack. Let's get some attack based on him. So let's look at the rings first. Let's look for an attack-based ring. So the accessories down here are locked to the factions of the character. So this is an undead character, so he can only use my undead rings. That's probably a pretty good ring for him. 143 attack. Attack is a primary and then 10% attack. These are ones I haven't leveled yet and may or may not want to level up. So this is probably worth rolling because you see here, this has just a flat 40 defense in the middle, which isn't very good. Whereas this has percent health. So there's similar items. They're similar items, but this has a percentage health, whereas this has flat defense. So let's roll this up to 12 and see what it looks like. I don't think the ones from this morning went through, Funny Killer. So you can see as it rolls up here, it gets different bonuses. This one actually rolled defense twice, so this might actually be worse than the other 12 that I have. As your items get higher, they're not guaranteed to upgrade the first time. Every time you see it says upgrade chance medium. So one of the ways they sync the free currency in this game is by item upgrades, which is why all my items aren't 16 all the way, because it gets expensive to take things to 16. Yes, this could be a good ring for someone else. So even if it doesn't end up being what I want on him, like if I don't roll attack percent here on this level 12, I probably won't use this ring on him. Come on, little ring, you can do it. Yeah, so we rolled HP here, and now I can compare, right? So this ring here gives 143 attack, whereas this ring here gives 216 attack. This one loses me less life, but my life's not really important on this character build, so I'd rather have this one. And now, Amulet here, let's change my filters. So Amulets can have crit damage as their primary stat, so let's look at crit damage amulets here. This is not terrible. It gives me a little bit of extra attack and a little bit of crit damage. This one does not give extra, a little bit less attack, and it gives accuracy. Don't really need accuracy on this build, so I'm just going to take this one that gives a little bit extra attack. And now, as far as banners go, his banner's actually pretty okay. While it doesn't give attack, it does give 14 speed, which is pretty good. Let's take a peekaboo at what my attack banners look like real quick here. Do I have an attack banner that gives speed? Yeah, like this. Like that's pretty good. So like you could see here on the differential, I could trade 4 speed for almost 200 attack if I wanted. This one, I could trade 4 speed for over 200 attack. Yeah, I think I want one of the ones that has speed rolled up on it. Now, worth noting too here, this one's already at level 12, and this one's only level 8. So if I roll this to 12, it will probably be better than this. So let's roll this to 12 and see what it does. Because it'll also gain another substat here when we get it to 12. Hey, Ardani, thanks for the 3rd of the year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. In the very early game, you just shouldn't worry about getting your energies. And look at that. That's sick. So this is like perfect for him because we rolled attack percent here. So now this banner is giving plus 300 attack, whereas this one's only giving plus 215. That's super, super good. Now, someone else had mentioned glyphs. So one of the things you can farm in this game are upgrade glyphs here. And actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and spend some of my, probably not the speed, but some of these are fine. So like, these are things you can farm out of dungeons that give your substats little boost. So this one will give me an extra 1% defense. This one will give me 1 to 2% extra attack. We rolled 1. I'm going to try and roll it again. Failed. So you get a couple extra points there. Oh, I can do that here too. How many glyphs can you put on? So you can put the different glyphs have different stars. So like, for example, this better glyph is, gives 1 to 3, whereas the weaker glyphs only give a guaranteed 1%. I'll just throw some of these defense ones on there, because might as well. Give him, hopefully, a little bit of survivability if he takes a hit. And you can see some of these items that I've used already have some glyphs on them. Like this one has a speed glyph. This has an attack stat. You can get a few points of extra attack. So the glyphs have a maximum range. So you can see here, this got a 4 bonus. So I could try and apply this again, but I would only at most get 1 more. It doesn't add another 4 onto this. It could increase the 4 to 5 range up to 5. So you can't just like endlessly stack glyphs on them for extra stuff. Can map with the rest of that. So if we take a peek at our final stats here, so we ended up at like 92% crit, which is fine because we're mostly bringing this in for blue team, so he'll get to 100 on blue because that's his strong affinity. We've got some crit damage here, and then we've got a good chunk of attack. So let's pop on in and take a peek through it. I wanted to build him out because I saw a team on this page. So this team here has 3 blue champions in it, and blue champions are resistant to green ones, so my debuffer would not be very good against this team because his, hey, Bunny Killer, thanks for completing the tutorial, I appreciate it. His debuff likely won't apply to a lot of these, so we're gonna swap Stag out here and swap in the Blood Gorge we just built. Now, when you're newer and learning through, I know what each of these champions do, but you can click into here on their champions and see what they look like. Some of them are really cool, and what their different abilities do. So like Draco here, for instance, puts weaken and decrease defense, and then attacks and places poisons, and then his A1 probably won't get used. He'll probably use these first, is usually how it works. Attacks 1 and deals extra for each debuff on it. So they have Arbiter like me, so they've got meter up. It's actually interesting that they're still using Apothecary in their team. So this is one of the better early game champs that's also good in dungeons as well. He speeds up your team and then also can heal. Do you ever use autoplay during arena battles? I don't really. If your team is really strong, you could probably auto through some of the earlier ones, but I've watched some people streaming that are like in the plat arena, and they very rarely auto in the arena battles. So let's see if we're faster. That's check 1. Whose Arbiter is faster? Our Arbiter's a little bit quicker. And we didn't get cut, so Enchantress applies the provoke. And then you can see here, that one cut in. And now we'll see. Did we need this guy? He's a little bit slower than Chandra. Do bombs kill people? Okay, and they survived my bombs here. So now I have to decide, what do I want to do? So his A3 does a really big hit on one opponent, but his A2 does a slightly weaker hit across them all. So I'm just going to try and see if we can sweep them. Almost swept. And then again here, you can see their affinities are void and red. So my Stag will be fine here. I built Blood Gorged out primarily for compositions like that last one, where they have blue champions in it, and I might need more DPS instead of my debuffer. Arbiter is very good. Before I had Arbiter, I used, I have a Seeker and a Jingle Elf. Hey, Disoriental MD, I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I'm looking forward to Saturday. I'm also looking forward to tomorrow, though. Like, getting the Historic Anthology 3 out sounds great. How'd you get the Arbiter? Yeah, so if you play through raid stuff, in the corner here, the missions give you things to do. There's 4 parts to these that have 286 missions in total, and at the very end of the missions, you get Arbiter. So when you farm through all of these, you're guaranteed to get her. And her, in addition to giving the meter up that's really good, she also makes your allies faster, and specifically the arena. So I've been playing this. I can see on the corner actually how long I've been playing for. So I've been playing for tonight. The days roll over at 7 p.m. Central, so I'll be playing for almost 5 months tonight. Halfway there. So I got Arbiter like last week or the week before, so I was playing for a little over 4 months before I got her. Yeah, if you're starting out, the missions give you like a good roadmap. So over here, these are daily login rewards. You can see here with the hour and a half we've been playing today, I've played for 180 minutes total because I also played for like an hour or so last night doing my daily missions. Every single day when you log in, there's 4 daily missions, or there's like 5 or 6. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 daily missions. And then there's also weekly and monthlies here as well, which I've done. One of the things that's really nice is if you have to miss a day, you don't have to do the weekly or monthlies in a calendar month. You can skip a day playing here and there, and you just like skip a day of progress on this. You don't have to do this 30 days in a row. You don't have to do this 5 days in a row, etc. Which is nice. These are some goodies I have saved up. What do I do? Let's talk about how champions level. I've got some of those saved in here. Do I? Yes. Okay. So champions start out. I wish it would show total hours played. You have to be in the millions by now. So when your champions level up, your champions have both stars and levels, and their maximum level is equal to their stars. And the way you increase their stars is by feeding them other champions, which is a strange concept, like conceptually, but it's how the game works. So when my 3-star champion hits level 30, I throw 3 other 3-star champions into the meat chipper here and hit upgrade, and now he's a level 1 4-star champion. So it gets progressively harder to get higher stars as you go through the champions. Getting level 60s takes a little bit because it's this same type of thing. To get a 60, you have to have a 5-star champion at level 50 and then feed it 5-star champions. So the game is definitely very grindy. You can see here these champions are only level 29. So I can't roll them up to 4 stars yet. Let's get them to level 30 here real quick. So the way you end up grinding up champions for your food is you'll generally... I've been looking for a mobile game to play like this and play in time at home. It's been the exact fix. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Roller Dude. So you can see here...
Oh, that's gonna come in handy later.
Don't eat epics or legendaries ever. You'll regret that. So you can see here, my Bellower is my farming champion. You'll see here why in a second. I'm gonna hit start. My Bellower clears this farming level super quick. He goes, one-shot your wave, one-shot your wave, one-shot your wave. So, and again, this part actually reminds me a lot of Pokemon, which is that, like, you know, when you have like an EXP share on a Pokemon, all these champions get experience even though my farmer did all the work. So we'll do one more run through here and they'll hit level 30. I've killed champions in 12-3 quite a bit, chat. One of the other things the game does well, there's people that set up macro auto clickers on this game. They also give you what are called multi-battles here. So for example, if I wanted to level a bunch of 2-star guys to level 20, I could say multi-battle them, and if I don't check this, it'll stop when they all hit the max level. So I'll hit start here, and then it'll automatically run through this campaign level until these guys are all max level. So you can see here it says this is battle 1 of 47, and it won't actually do 47 of them. I believe it only takes 8 runs on this level to get these 2-star champions to 20. This is brutal. This is brutal difficulty. This is, I built my Bellower probably about 3 months into the game. For a long time, I just used my starter. Like Elhain, I did Elhain on, she had like 28 to 30 second clears. So like prioritizing building a champion that can explicitly speedrun like this should be low priority until you fleshed out other things. Yeah, I have heard people say that you can farm Nightmare. That's definitely outside of my reach at the moment. I haven't even completed the Nightmare campaign yet. It's on my to-do list. What's your Bellower look like? I'll show the Bellower build after we finish leveling these idiots to 20. Your Kale does 20 second clears. Yeah, 20 is fine. Like, seriously, like, it's really not, like... anything like sub 45 seconds on 12-3 Brutal, I think is good. Your Kale ends up dying like 1% of the time. That's the worst. Is he fully masteried, Admiral? Does he have the mastery that gives himself a shield when he kills something? The one that gives him a shield when he kills something and getting faster when he kills stuff is real good. He's missing defense gear. Yeah, definitely, Beansy. Alright, so these guys are 20, and you can see here it automatically stops farming after 8. I was right. Once they all get to 20. So my Bellower is actually in my vault, because even though I use him, I don't have him, just take a picture here. He's not completely maxed out, but he's pretty close. Another thing, and I actually didn't show this on the Champions too, for people that think they might get into the game, there's also this Masteries over here for these champions, where you get to pick 2 of these 3 different sections to build out your champions with different bonuses, which is great. So you get different ways to design your champions to do different things. So for example, this Bellower is built around crit damage. So I build down to getting this master, it gives him extra crit damage, and there's some other things over here that like help him go faster with Lore of Steel. And these types of things, something that's good to know is when you build masteries on champions, you really want to think about what you're going to use them for. Each champion gets 1 free mastery reset, and then if you want to reset them again after that, you have to spend currency to do it. So there's websites that give recommendations on masteries. If you're in the subs Discord, we chat about it in there too if you're looking for recommendations based on what your character is going to be doing. Because like, for example, if I wasn't campaign farming with this Bellower, I probably wouldn't want crit damage. Like if you're doing dungeons with it, you probably want War Master on it, is a good example of something that's different based on what role you want to put the champion in. So the red gems are the premium currency, but you do just get some red gems for doing missions. So I can't show it here because I already collected it. Every day when you do your daily quest, you get 10 gems. You also get gems for doing missions, and there's a gem mine over here as well. There's actually an event coming up. Oh, no, wait, I finished my training event. Sick. All right, so I hit the 30,000 points of the training event. So the events are things that give you kind of goals or missions to do as you play through, and they give you prizes as you hit thresholds in them. So this was a training event where you collect points for leveling up champions, and I collected all 30,000 points in this training event. And then this one is a Dungeon Diver event, which I've also maxed. As my wife will tell you, when I say I play a lot of Raid off stream, I do in fact play a lot of Raid off stream. So this one, you get different points for collecting artifacts in different areas of the game. And as you rank them up, you get, these ones were rewarding specific champions and also books and stuff. Hey, Allie, thanks for the 23 months. Yeah, that's actually a good piece of advice. If you're someone that's going to start playing Raid with some regularity, largely don't worry about events and definitely don't worry about tournaments until you're further into the game. You'll spend a lot of resources on them, and in the early game, it's often better to spend those resources in other places. Tournaments are Hey, Symbiote, thanks for checking out the tutorial. I appreciate it. Tournaments are similar to events, except they have a competitive aspect to them, thus tournament. So this is a tournament for... This is a tournament, hey, Lolitz, thanks for completing the tutorial as well. This is a tournament for farming specifically the Ice Golem, and as you collect points, you're guaranteed to get the prizes over here on the right. However, if you finish highest in your groups, you get extra prizes here. So the top 10 people in this tournament get extra prizes. And then there's also an absurd global leaderboard if you ever want to go whale watching. These are the people that spend ungodly amounts of both money and time on raid. You can see, like, on this global leaderboard, the person in first has 19,000 points almost, whereas if I look at my local group, like 1,800 is the top. So, yeah. All right, what was I gonna do? Should we open some champions? I feel like we should open some champions. So they give me a small budget to spend on stuff on stream that they refund me in addition to paying more me. So I'm gonna buy some stuff with raids money. The sacred daily pack is reasonable. It's like okay value. I'm gonna grab this one real quick, and we're gonna open some champions. Oh, I gotta find my phone for my PayPal account. I'm not showing you my. I'm literally checking out right now on the screen. You can't see. I don't capture my whole desktop. Come on now, I ain't dumb. I ain't dumb. I'm checking out right now. Yes, my number one advice to you is that. Did it pop up? I gave you dollars, Raid. I've actually never bought something through the PC before. Do I have to, like, relog? That can't be right? Can you sync whale noises to your computer while it charges? It takes a second. It probably takes a second. So, one of the things that these games do is they throw lots of deals at you. Limited time special offers here, which you can actually see I bought this energy one, that are varying quality and value, and some of these are intentionally worse than others to make the ones that are good seem better. My number one piece of advice is never buy items. Yeah, never buy items. Just farm items, because remember when we were talking about how the variation on item stats and substats, these are all randomly substatted items, like they're guaranteed to be this set, but the stats on them might not even be this good. Yes, B, if you're gonna purchase something, ask in our chat whether or not it's a good deal. If you're gonna spend, I would like that one. So I'll get prizes from this for the next few days, and then we're gonna get a big shard. The daily gems here, you can see I'm about to be on day 27. These are 10 bucks a month for like 2,000 gems or so. If you're someone that's gonna be a small spender, you like the game and want to get a little bit ahead, the daily gems are easily the best value that you can get on the regular. Next month, they're gonna be bringing back their battle pass, which is $25 for 2 months of the battle pass, and that is head and shoulders far and away. It gives you epic champions, legendary champions, gear sets, energy. When the battle pass comes back, I'm gonna snap by it. So I buy daily gems and I buy the battle pass, and I buy random other things. Like I said, I have like $100 a month entertainment budget for myself, and I've been spending most of that on raids since I started playing it. All right, let's collect my shard and open it for your viewing pleasure. So there's different shards here, which the info on what you are to get from the shards is here. So you can see the mystery shards are the ones you farm very easily and quickly, give you mostly commons and uncommons and sometimes rares. The blue shards are a little bit are harder to get, but they always give rares, sometimes epic, sometimes legendaries. Voids are the same rates as the ancients, but you can only get void champions from these. So the purple champions or the purple aligned champions are hard to get. Wizard is the best starter. Yep. Yeah, there's a deal calculator. I can pull that up in a second. Let's open the sacred shard though. All right, chat. We're 6% to get a legendary. Chat, can we do it? Probably not. Let's see. Woo! Streamer luck! Woo! Woo! See chat, they must know we're playing. They must know we're playing. They're like, we're gonna hook it up. We're gonna hook it up. It's Pinhead. He's okay. He's a good arena champ. So he stuns people. This was one of their holiday champions. So this is Chilean the Lucky. He was like one of their luckiest, and actually didn't do this fusion. His head's a little bit small. He's got a little tiny head. We got lucky by opening the lucky. You love to see it. Yeah, maybe we'll build him at some point. Yep. What else did I want to do? Oh, we opened him to. There's a champion chase tournament going on right now. So when you open champions, you get prizes. Yay, prizes. You can see here, people have lots of points in here because they've been opening champions. Opening a legendary champion is worth a ton of points, so I've got 500 points in this already. Oh, the calculator. Yeah. Where is it? I don't have that tab open already. Where is it at? So this website is called a Yumi Love. It has a ton of different recommendations on champions and stuff on it, and it has this offer calculator here, so you can enter in everything the offer guide is offering you and what it costs, and it'll tell you the approximate value of it as just a ratio of what those things cost on non-deals. And then it's got pictures down here of deals they've run in the past. Like, for example, the daily gem pack I recommended has an offer value of 5.1, which is really high. Anything over 4, I would consider good value. The dark mode's an extension. That's dark reader. Yeah, this site is really ugly and bright white by default. This is it's not. Dark reader is a godsend. You can see like my whole thing just light up. It's pinned in Discord, Dirty Digits, if you look in the raid channel. And you can see here again, they're very good at getting you to buy stuff if you're someone that wants to spend. This power-up pack deal pops up because the game knows I just opened a champion. It goes, they just opened a legendary champion. They probably want to build that champion. Here's some chickens and brews to level it up right away. Here's some things to help ascend it. So I generally don't buy those. I don't think I've ever picked up any of the quick offers like that. You can see here in the corner, there's the index that lit up. I got another Bannerlord champion here, and you can see there are just tons and tons of champions in this game. So Chilean the Lucky is one that I haven't clicked through yet. Yeah, so there's different, this is just one faction here, and there's so many factions in here. There's 13 right now, and they have some more coming, and there's, 20 to 40 champions in each of these, and they keep fleshing out and adding to those every month. You can click through and see which ones you have. In general, like for example, if you're gonna play, if you look at my bulk storage here, I have a bunch of extra, that's not what I wanted. I have a bunch of extra rare champions and epic champions in my vault that I'm not using. And the reason why you want to hold on to these extras is because they randomly put up these limited time fusions that we were talking about, where if you have the right combination of rares, you can fuse them into this. In fact, the Umbral Enchantress that I'm using in the arena and this Catacomb guy that I'm going to build out at some point, I fused them because I didn't have them already. I could also fuse these epics into this legendary guy, but I don't think this guy is very good, so I don't think I'm going to spend the resources fusing them. He looks very cool. The overlay is super, his skin is super sweet, but his actual skill kit I don't think is something I'd use anywhere, so I'm not going to fuse him. Takes a lot of resources. You got to level the champions to 50 and ascend them and stuff. Show them the leaked Death Angel. I don't want to show leaked stuff during a sponsored segment. You can click through here and just like look at what all the different champions are. See what their different abilities do. Lots of good ones. All right, what else did I want to... Can't confirm I've built that D&D character, right? What else did I want to accomplish on my account today? We max keyed... I 2-keyed this clan boss, right? So let's try the Ultra Nightmare clan boss. So our clan, the 2 of the Hoaglandia clans consistently kill the Nightmare boss every day, and this clan is slowly starting in on Ultra Nightmare. You can see we had 2 people that hit the 70 million on here. My run is not quite as good here, because my champions, the difficulty increase is pretty sizable. He's also faster than what this current team is decked out to be. So the way, because this guy is faster than my team, I actually wait to start his, counterattack move like I showed earlier until the second round, because I ideally want counterattack to be up for both of his slams. So we'll see here, when his bar gets all the way across again, he'll one-shot stun somebody, and then after that happens, I'll put up his thing. So we'll do one more smack here, and then he'll punch somebody. And now, when we get back around, and now I can click auto, I believe. Now we'll let him fight. And now he puts up his counterattack buff, so when this guy hits them, all my guys get an extra attack. So getting it so you time that counterattack when it's ideal is pretty key to dealing lots of damage. Dark Reader. If you're not using the Dark Reader Chrome extension, you should get it. It will change your life for the better. It's so good. One of the keys to making this fight work is you'll notice 2 of my champions here are placing a poison debuff, which hits for a truckload of damage every turn, because this guy's got a lot of health. One of them also puts this poison sensitivity modifier, which makes it so... Did he not put counterattack up here? Oh! Well, if he gets stunned, if you don't cleanse the stun, it gets it off sync, right? Is that what happened there? He got punched, and then even though he purges the debuff, it doesn't reset his counter. I think that's what happened there. Yeah, because he's getting stunned. It's the same genre. It's the same genre of game as Summoner's Wars. Both that same genre of game. So that's not something that was happening in. So I probably need to figure out my timing so her block debuffs works better for that. And again, figuring out that sort of thing, while a lot of these runs tend to be auto runs, trying to optimize your team so they do what you want in terms of auto runs ideal. So like, for example, I turned my auto off here because I don't want to put Protect Allies up yet, because the clan boss is about to do a single point stun, and I want my protection thing to be up. When he does both of his AoE slams. So now we put that up. There's an AoE slam. They all attack in, and then he'll do a second slam and they'll all counterattack again.
Another one.
Welcome to the slam. And you can see here my damage on this run is not stellar. It's nowhere near as good as my Nightmare run. Like, I think I usually get about 12 million, 10 to 12 million per key here, whereas I get up to 20 million on the Nightmare boss. And again, my Sky Touch Shaman, her ability at the start of her turn, she loses some of her own health and heals everybody else, so she keeps most of my team full. Not a standard for 6 months, but I saw a Teamer Flash deck 5-0 and putting up okay results. It's nothing like Teamer Wreck, so is Flash a bad version of Teamer Wreck? I have no idea, Gorks. I'm pretty much just off standard personally, really haven't been enjoying it. Yeah, at some point, I probably need to suck it up and farm lifesteal gear. Right now, if you look at this, the way this team is built, Sky Touch Shaman is the only one in lifesteal gear, and if I could swap out her as a healer for someone that did, like, defense down and weaken, I might be better off. But, like, the Hoaglandia clan as a whole is pretty far off of killing Ultra Nightmare, so I've been working on other things. Like, I think I'd like to try and get to Platinum in Arena for fun. I think I'd like to work on that. With Chilean might be fun for pushing Platinum in Arena. He's pretty sweet. My counterattack might die on this next slam. Oh, he got healed a little bit. Yep, okay, so I lost my healer there, so my run's probably gonna fall apart at this point without her healing. Alright, he didn't die at least, so we got that going for us, but I think he's stunned, so his counter... Oh, we got cleansed, okay. Okay. Come on, squad, I believe in you. Hit the 12 mil mark. I believe in you, little team. You don't need lifesteal if you have leech. That hasn't been my experience, so I actually have a, what's it called? We didn't hit 12 million. And what's the goal? Is it that bad? Should I not bother? Yeah, the current standard format, Gorks, is the worst standard has been since Guilds of Ravnica started. So 20, this is like, when I hit, so if my team can consistently 2-key this, I would like to be able to 2-key into this, I think. So my goal for Ultra Nightmare in the short term is probably try and figure out a team composition that can hit like 12 million damage with some consistency. Because if I can do 12 million on a key, I'll be able to get this second chest here, in addition to getting the max chest down here. Yeah, but 18%'s enough with Giant Slayer. Yeah, I have a Corpse Collector. I built out a Corpse Collector, or I leveled and masteried her, and you can see her gear's currently gutted. Because I just wasn't impressed with her. She did not keep leech up consistently enough, and my squad kept wiping anyways. I've heard NM max chest is better than the first 3 chests, and UNM is that accurate. I think the third chest is comparable to the max Nightmare chest. I've hit the Divine chest like probably a dozen or so times, and this second chest here is definitely worse than the max chest on Nightmare. The max chest on Nightmare is like really good. It gives like books randomly. Sometimes you get Sacred and Void Shards. Like pretty content hitting this one every day and working on other things. The only good leech is Ledger. Yeah, Mashallah is the best leecher for sure. I think I already did my faction wars for today. So we talked about the runes earlier. So this is where you get runes from. They give you keys every day to go into these, and I already spent my keys last night. Do I play Raid outside of sponsored times? An unhealthy amount. Is my wife still in chat? She'll tell you an unhealthy amount. So for reference, like, if you start to play, ask anyone in chat how long it takes to get 60-star champions. I have a lot of 60 champions. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 9, 18. This is almost 60. This is 6 stars. So that's 20. Plus my vault has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have like almost 30 max level champions. Yeah, you can also check in the subs Discord server. Like I turn down mobile game sponsorships all the time. I like play them a little bit first. And that's actually how I started playing Raid. They were like, "Hey, do you want to do a sponsored segment?" I was like, "All right, let me play it and see." And then I started playing. I take breaks sometimes. You've been playing a lot for 25 days with some spending, and you just made your 5th level 60. Yep. And once you get a little bit deeper, like the first few 60s take longer, because once you get like my speed farmer I showed earlier, like when you have a farmer who like runs through this at breakneck speeds, it becomes a little bit easier and quicker. But for a long time, like my first dozen and a half 60s, I didn't have this guy built, and I was farming this on like a 30 to 45 second run. Hey, thanks Boo Shoes for checking out playing through the tutorial. I appreciate the support. Steven and Telecock, I think I missed those two. I appreciate you. I like farming games. Yeah, I agree. If you're someone that doesn't like farming for gear, Raid is probably not the game for you. But if you enjoy games like Diablo and Pokemon video game that are farming-based games, this is like this too. So, the Great Hall is actually something I didn't talk about, which is sweet. You can see my Great Hall is pretty well built up here because I play a lot of Arena. The Great Hall gives all of your champions of different factions bonuses depending on where you spend, and you build your Great Hall based on your arena medals. So you can see here I currently have 191 gold arena medals, and if I want to upgrade, what was I thinking I wanted to upgrade next? I think I wanted to upgrade green, probably one of my voids actually. So I think I want to upgrade my void crit damage next. Or probably void defense, actually. So, it takes me 300 gold medals to upgrade this, and then I just get this flat 10% boost across all of my void champions. So you'll see, I bought level 1 upgrades everywhere, because it's like super cheap to get level 1 and level 2 upgrades in a lot of places. What should you focus on doing as a new player? Just work your way through the missions. The missions kind of give you a guiding hand of what you should be completing. The mission you'll get stuck on, at some point in the missions, it tells you to get to Silver 2 in Arena. I would recommend largely ignoring the Arena, except for doing your daily quest. The daily quest has a fight in the Arena 5 times, and you don't even have to win for this, you just have to fight. I would recommend just like playing and losing 5 matches in the Arena per day, and then work through the campaign. So in the campaign on normal and hard, you get prizes and shards. So normal, hard, brutal. I think I fully 3-starred. The brutal campaign before I even touched the PvP. My number one piece of advice if you're starting out in Raid is, actually one last thing we didn't talk about is the different champions have... Who's someone I don't have max? So the different champions have, their skills have levels. Hey, Aldasar Black, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Aldasar Black, the skills on your champions have different levels, and you can collect skill tomes to level up their different skills to get higher damage or better buff effects or cooldown reductions. Be conservative with where you spend your books. You get a lot of books early, and then they become one of the harder resources to get. So, another thing is, you'll notice there's rare, epic, and legendary. You can use legendary books to upgrade the skills on epic or rare characters. Never do that. You can use epic books to upgrade... rare champions. Never do that. Don't downbook. The epic books and legendary books are much harder to get than rares. Although, you'll note I have more legendaries than epics because I haven't had that many legendaries I've built out. Yeah, don't do that. I did some of that early and you'll regret it. Big agree. Big agree, you'll regret it. You do not have the books, yeah? Yeah, I ended up Blood Gorged was my first legendary, and I actually don't really use him anywhere right now, but I dumped books that I had into him, and like, he's fine. He's like a fine arena champion. Yes, books are one of the most important endgame resources. In fact, if you look at the types of tournaments and stuff and the events that they're running, those are the primary source of books. Primary source of books is those. And you can see here, I actually don't have any 2-star champions. You rip through a lot of green shards here. Green shards are what you rip through to level your champions up. You can get some rares out of these, but you mostly get commons and uncommons. I'm gonna open a bunch of these so I can use them as food. What are XP's brews? Okay, I can show that. So XP brews are basically a way to give your champions XP in the tavern. Let's hit this one more time before I max it out. The Nightmare Clan boss also gives books on occasion. Max chest on Nightmare. So brews are these things here at the top. Oh, did I open a Razin Rare? Did I get the last one I need? I didn't. All right, so a brew here. So for example, I can click on this guy and I can scroll down and there'll be a brew at the bottom. We can give her a drink and it'll level her up. So it gives her a bunch of experience. So upgrades her to 10. So the brews are there to level your champions. You get brews from purchases, you get brews from farming things in dungeons on occasions, you get brews from doing missions. Yeah, so and again, I think they do a pretty okay job of this. This is a fusion that's always there, and as you open rares, if you're gonna play the game, you should pick the wizard. They're all fine, but the wizard's slightly more fine than others. So as you open rare champions, you want to look for these 16 because you fuse these. Kale. So you fuse these 16 into these four epics, and then the epics fuse into Razin Scarhide, which is one of the better legendaries in the game. He's considered S tier. So both Razin and Arbiter, which are 2 champions basically everybody can get, because you don't have to just like randomly open them. You either complete missions or you fuse them, are S tier legendaries. So you can see here, I'm actually missing. So I've got all 3 of these ready to go, and I've got 3 of these. I need to open this stupid marked champion. So at some point, I will be graced with this rare champion. And once I get the rare champion, we'll get her to 40. We'll fuse this, and then we'll fuse this. It'll be wonderful. We'll have us a good legendary. Yeah, just don't eat you can click in here and see which champions you've opened in the past. And if you go into the barbarian section, you can definitely see that I've opened a marked in the past and might have turned her into food to star up another champion. I might have done that more than once. Don't. So again, that's another good tip if you're early. Don't eat rares unless you have an extra copy of them. So now you can see here when I scroll through my vault, there's a bunch of random champions in here that I'm just keeping 1 copy of each, and then these rares that I just opened, I will turn them into food because I already have copies of them in my vault. So if I have an extra, I'll eat them. Actually, do I have a rock tooth? I might not have a rock tooth. Oh, rock tooth is up here, right? I think he's 40. Yeah, he's 40. I probably want to save him extra anyways. Yeah, just don't sell this as extra. And actually, again, talking about the balance of champions, when you're starting out, this is someone I didn't build because I was fortunate enough to open a Cold Heart. But if you don't open the Void Champion Cold Heart, this champion Armor Gear, his skill kit is really good at getting you through lots of dungeons. He's good in the Spider, even at stage 20. He's great in the Ice Golems. He does this damage based on enemy max HP. Yeah, Outlaw Monk's another good one. So Outlaw Monk and Armor Gear are both uncommons worth having. And they're really easy to upgrade their skills on because you can feed them duplicates. So this guy has max skills in case I want to build him someday just because. And I maxed him out by feeding him duplicate armor gears. When you go to the skill book section of the tavern, it will offer to let you use duplicates. Like, I have 3 of the same rare here. When I go to upgrade skills, it offers me her other copies to turn into skill books if I want to. And this is actually a really good champion as well. Something too, when you're playing early and you're getting started in the game, each of these different campaign levels, if you look over here, there's champions that you can get from playing the campaign levels as a reward. So, not sewers, but not that one. Durham Forest, Spirit Host. This is a very good arena champion early on that you don't have to get lucky and open from shards. You can farm it from the forest. War Maiden on stage 9, I think it is a very reasonable arena champion. Also going to be a little bit cold if you put her in the ice dungeons. She does defense down. This champion, if built right, is good all the way through level 20 dungeons. This is a champion that you can farm and not open. I actually think that one we just saw there, Diabolist, is actually very good as well. She does increased speed and does meter up and stuff. I've got one of her at level 50 that I used in my early game teams a lot. So yeah. So again, Raid's a lot of fun. I played a ton off stream, more than Christy would probably like. If you like it, make sure you give it a download on PC using my link and play through the tutorial. Really easy way to support my content. We're actually up to 110 people there. That's awesome. If I hit 180, I get a bonus, and if I hit 250, I get another bonus, so I appreciate everybody that takes the time to do that. I think I have another week or so to plug that, so you'll see me plugging it. If you did decide you enjoyed it, you should pop on into the subs Discord server if you're going to be playing regularly. We have a very active channel in there with a few different Hoaglandia-based clans. Happy to talk about champion builds and stuff like that and give suggestions and things like that, so... Thanks everybody for watching. I'll be back tomorrow morning. We're going to do one Moto League to start, and then the Historic Anthology 3 is going to roll up, and we're going to play a bunch of Historic Anthology 3. It's going to be a lot of fun. Catch all y'all around later, and see you on the Discord server.